And welcome back to Yahoo Finance on the Move. As we watch markets, we're also watching this argument nationwide over sending children back to school. But perhaps lost in that discussion is the fact that several millions of disadvantaged youth still need to eat on a regular basis. And they get those meals, in some cases, from their school lunch programs. Somebody who's familiar with this issue and combating hunger is Barbara Timm-Brock. She's joining us and is also the president of K through 12 by Elior. So we appreciate you joining us from San Jose, California. A lot of people seem to forget that that meal that so many children get at school is the one healthy meal they get every day. How is your organization helping keep these children nutritiously fed?
Yeah, thank you, Adam. It is a reality that there are about 11 million food insecure kids and 22 million that receive free and reduced lunch. And if you think about it, those kids actually need 3 meals a day, 365 days a year, but we're there to help them half of the year. And the school lunch program serves breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner, so they can actually get several meals. And I think it's fair to say in our over 50 years of working with schools that there has never been a year like this, and we have had to pivot. I think a lot of businesses are talking about that word pivot. And we have shifted from serving freshly prepared meals in the classroom to some of our other products where we're able to work with the schools and provide boxed meals for families to pick up. We've delivered them by bus. We've gone to neighborhoods. We've certainly used a variety of methods to get children fed. We believe every child deserves a great meal, and it is really important to help them. And imagine the parents at home trying to school their children, getting those meals, couple of meals off of their plate every day will also help them be able to focus. So it has been very crazy, but also very rewarding to be able to serve so many children right now.
Barbara, it's Julie here. What is the breakdown when you look at least here in the United States, nationally, between school districts that provide their own meals, have sort of in-house, and those that outsource that kind of thing to you? And what is the cost equation in all of this? Because we know that school districts are really strapped right now, right? They're strapped just because they're always strapped, but they're strapped because now they're having to spend as well on things like PPE and worrying about safety and increased costs there.
Yes, so about 3/4 of all school districts of the 13,000 school districts in the country operate their own food programs, but many of them, maybe about half of those, also include other outsourced products. And they do that for cost efficiency, for convenience. So there's a lot that are out there that do their own, but we work with those folks too to provide food. The cost equation is, as you know, is very challenging for schools. Over the years, they've had to eliminate a lot of we don't think they're discretionary programs, but things like music, because they are pressed for funds. The way the school lunch program works is the government reimburses the schools for feeding poor children. And one of the things our company has worked on for the many decades that we've been doing this is to make sure the cost that we provide the school is less than the reimbursement rate, so they don't have to pull money out of their general funds to support their food program. And there are thousands of schools that are in the red on their food program. So this is an even more challenging time for them. It's, I ran schools, and it is a really challenging thing to make the budgets work.
Hey, Barbara, it's Brian Chung here. My mom works in an elementary school, and she's been telling me as they gear up for getting started in New Jersey, at least, that they're actually trying to build the school schedule around lunchtime because that appears to be a very high-risk activity with kids congregating in a cafeteria, for example. So I'm wondering, from a distributional model standpoint, how are you prioritizing the safety of the preparing of the food, whether that's for the people actually packaging or cooking the food that you ultimately distribute, and then ultimately getting it to the students, whether or not that's at their homes or at the school itself, depending on what the schedule looks like? Are there any sort of examples, I guess, that you could provide of how this all works?
So I think it's fair to say nothing is more important than safety, and it's actually our company culture. So keeping our people safe, keeping our customers safe. And we've put this all together to make it more easy for parents and administrators to understand. in a safe cafe platform, and it really just captures what we do. So, food preparation has always had a lot of safety involved in it, but now we have many different methods. And I'm really proud of, there's a wonderful not-for-profit, No Kid Hungry, and we've worked for them to develop a set of lunch in the classroom procedures so that people can keep their bubbles. We're also staggering lunch periods, keeping the children separated in the cafes that we operate, and providing pickup spots such as carts and things so that it's really an individual experience for each child to maintain all of the proper procedures. We've spent a tremendous amount of time. We've actually served almost 15 million meals during COVID while the schools have been closed. And so we have a lot of experience with alternative methods to get the food in the hands of the kids. And they're pretty excited, by the way, when they get that food.
Barbara, how have you seen the scale and scope of the need change over the last several months? There was already a significant need back in March, but since then we have had millions of people get laid off.
It's a huge issue, and I think we saw it first in our own employees, where we employ service workers who are in the schools who we had to furlough, and we provided them, everyone who stayed on furlough, we've been providing their health care payments. They're really needy. We established a employee assistance fund so we could see it firsthand in our company. I believe that the number of free and reduced applications will be up dramatically this year just because of the families who have lost so much income, particularly for those economically disadvantaged families. So it will be greater, the need is greater, and so we all have to work, all of us who are in the business of working with schools need to help them and be extremely nimble at being fluid with things. We work with over 500 school districts, and every day the plan changes. And so I think safety is everyone's top concern. And frankly, it always is. But the stakes are even higher now. And feeding children has really high stakes in the first place. It's kind of a social justice issue because if kids don't eat, they actually can't learn. They have behavior problems. And so feeding children is important to all of us if we want to have a good society.